The web event has been missing for a while, which has some people thinking that this new MLua event style is going to be the new web event that we get from now on, especially since the Meruem mail just confirmed that Young Senia is going to have her own version of this pass as well. Not confirmed if that's the case yet, but let's take a look at the rewards for this event anyways, and compare them to the old ones. So, these first three ones here, the Halloween Lua, which gave 2 leaves, and Nadalon Academy, which gave a sticker, and the 7-day check-in, don't seem to be repeating, because we can see here on the Young Senia version, there's only 4 tabs instead of 3, and only the bottom 2 share names. But there are 2 more things in the Young Senia thing, which we don't know what the rewards are, but there'll be some sort of rewards in there, just unknown for now. Let's look at the ones where we do know the rewards. So play content, it's the same as the current one. It's just you spend energy over 4 days, and you'll get these little points that you can use in the shop. In the shop, well, we can't see everything at a glance. Looks like it has the same rewards as what we have currently. So we can compare the play contents and the shop exchange to the old web event styles. So first, let's look at the play contents. I'll mention that the Young Senia version seems like it also has a regular energy and an arena version, just like Lua. So here, you have to acquire 1600 points, and you get 800 energy total. These tracks last for 4 days, so that's about 200 energy a day, and this matches the old web event, which also gave out at least 200 energy a day. There was the first tab where you would do 20 entries of pretty much anything, and you get 50 energy, so that was also 200 energy. And then there's also the rewards, which you would get from doing those 20 plays in the old web event style, that you would RNG a reward with. Those rewards varied a lot, so we'll save that for last. The old web event also had 1 unequipped scroll, 2 molas, 15 covenant bookmarks, and 1 gold transmit stone each time the web event rotated, which was every 3 weeks. This new Lua event lasts for 4 weeks, and instead those rewards are going to be seen in the shop here. So starting with the mola, we have 3 molas in a shop, which lasts for 4 weeks. So 3 molas every 4 months is 0.75 molas per week, which is a bit more than one we used to have before, because that was 2 molas over 3 weeks, or 0.66 molas per week. This Lua shop has 2 gold transmit stones every 4 weeks, while the old one had 1 gold transmit stone every 3 weeks, so the Lua shop also has more of the gold transmit stones. And the covenant bookmarks break even, because here you have 4 entries of the 5 covenant bookmarks, and before it was 15 cov bookmarks over 3 weeks versus 20 over 4 weeks, so it's 5 cov bookmarks a week for both. And there's also the unequipped scroll, which is the one thing that is lessened, because here you get 1 unequipped scroll every 4 weeks, and before it was 1 every 3 weeks. But more recently, it feels like we've been getting our unequip twice a month instead of once a month, so this kind of balances out. But this does seem to be the one thing that has kind of decreased. So now the varying rewards. In the old web event, it was different from event to event. There was always charms, gold, lesser blooms, and silver transmit stones, at least from what I remember. Sometimes, after doing all of your tokens, you would get 50 extra energy daily. Sometimes there would be an RNG chance to get energy or leaves. So it's a little bit hard to judge exactly what you would expect from that, because it varied so much and it was reliant on RNG. But it'll be a mix of the stuff that I listed. So I went over what you should and shouldn't buy from the shop in a previous video, but let's assume that you buy out the entire shop. You get 1400 points every rotation, and there are 7 rotations, so that is 9,800 points total. Let's ignore the molas, the cov bookmarks, and the unequipped scroll and the gold transmit stones, since we just mentioned those already when we're looking at the value against the RNG rewards. So here we have 10 greater charms for equipment and accessory each. And there's also 20 lesser charms for equipment and accessories, 3 greater artifact charms, and 10 lesser artifact charms. Overall, I'd say this is probably more than you would expect from the old web event, and even if it's not, because of this infinite repeating energy thing here, you could just use this and farm out some charms in Undercored History or something. So I would say, at least for the charms, it definitely bounces out. And then the gold that you would get from the events usually wasn't that much. Same thing, this energy is going to give you more gold. Especially since this energy is infinitely repeating. I've already bought this like a ton of times because of the previous buff event. We've also got these catalyst boxes, the 4-star hero artifact ticket, plus the the hero ticket plus this artifact ticket. And this artifact ticket is basically powder most of the time, but powder is still valuable. You've also got these 5 leaves, the 5 galaxy bookmarks, and then these greater blooms. So overall, I'd say these rewards in the shop are also a lot better than the old one, mainly because of the energy. So even if you bought out this entire shop, you would have 3,100 points left, which is just 3,100 energy. And that is going to give you so many rewards, especially with the option to skip certain items in the shop that you don't want. Like, I'm not buying these. Pretty much, like, the Catalyst, Bloom, Hero Ticket, and the Artifact Charms I'm skipping. So that is a good amount of extra energy for me to use into Rift instead. So mainly because of this energy thing, I'd say this shop is much better for rewards. So in terms of rewards, I'd say everything is better. The event duration is a little bit different, but with the daily energy, the random rewards being exchanged for the shop pretty much, as well as the track rewards being exchanged into the shop as well, I'd say everything is better overall. But let's talk about the main issue with this new event style, which is the way you gain points is kind of frustrating. So you can clear Adventure or Side Story one time for 10 points, clear Spirit Altar one time for 15 points, and then you clear Hunt one time or Rift for 20 points. The problem is that in the old system, you could do all of these things, and I think it also counted Automaton Tower, if I remember correctly. And you could also do Arena. So for this current one, they rotate between the energy ones and the arena ones. But for even with Rift costing so much energy, you would just do Arena and you would be able to clear the track. And now Rift costs 40 energy and it only gives you 20 points. And it gets pretty tight for trying to clear the pass. Because if you only farm Rift like me, that's 800 energy a day to clear this pass. And it's barely doable. Like, we get a lot of energy sources. There's the energy cap, 200 from shop. If you do ads, it's 100, 200 daily energy from this event on average. And then there's the 100 from Arky's daily login thing. Plus 50 from guild energy daily, and that's 804, which is just barely enough. And there's also the energy in the heart exchange, of course. But normally you'd want to save those for buff events to try and maximize the value. And also natural regen, but not everybody logs in more than once a day. So it's pretty tight since you can't use Arena to progress the pass anymore. Also, if you're doing side story, yes, the 8 energy entries are pretty good value. It's 8 energy for 10 points. But those aren't... You can only do that once, and it's a bit easier for me because I only clear normal on the side stories at this point. For people who actually buy the catalysts in the shop, you're doing hard, which is 24 energy for 10 points, which is even worse value than Rift somehow. So that is a little bit unfortunate, especially since Automaton Tower, while it does consume energy, doesn't do anything for this pass. The arena version is definitely very trivial to clear though. It's 80 points per win and 60 per loss. 27 losses to an NPC would cover 1600 points, which is just 3 days worth of flags if you only use the 5 from the cap and 5 from friendship. If you actually play arena and use flags more than once a day, you can clear in only 2 days, so that's no problem at all. It's just this energy version, while it is doable, is a little bit too tight to be satisfying in my opinion. So overall, I would say the rewards from this web event compared to the old one are definitely better. A bit more mola, the ability to choose what you want and much more energy gained is really, really nice. Especially just being able to stock up even more energy than before, I think, for the buff events that we get. But The energy point tracks are really annoying to clear, especially if you're trying to stock up the shop energy for buff events. So if they can make an improvement on that, this event would feel much better, especially since Rift is generally accepted, even in the game itself, to be the best gear farming spot, where most people are expected to be farming. And if they want us to be farming that, then they should probably make it a little bit easier to get through this.